Hello and welcome back to Kin Reads as we continue with Felicity's Surprise. Chapter 2, Sugar Cakes and Christmas Hopes. Cheerful sunlight shone through the windows into the kitchen. Felicity and Elizabeth were having a merry, messy time baking Shrewsbury cakes. Elizabeth was beating in eggs and rose water together in a bowl. Felicity had unwrapped the blue paper from a sugar loaf and scraped off a cup of sugar. 5 days till Christmas, said Felicity, and 13 days till we go to the palace. Seems such a terribly long time to wait. Yes, agreed Elizabeth. She added a pinch of nutmeg to the bowl. I think about the dance lesson all the time. Felicity spooned the sugar and some butter into Elizabeth's bowl. When you lived in England, did you ever go to a dance lesson as fancy as this one will be? She asked. Oh, no, said Elizabeth. Never anything as grand as this. Mother says it's a special occasion. Annabelle and I will ride to the palace in a carriage. We shall each have a footman to escort us right to the palace door. Who will escort you, Lissy? I don't know, said Felicity. Most likely my father will. Elizabeth grinned. I have a fine idea. She said Ben could escort you to the palace. That would make Annabelle green with envy. Elizabeth's snobby older sister was sweet on Ben. Something I'm very surprised by. I know they say he's from a wealthy family, but he's not a loyalist, and I feel like Annabelle should know that. The girls had shared many a giggle over the way Annabelle fluttered her eyelashes at Ben, trying to make him notice her. So, Elizabeth looked surprised when Felicity frowned and said, No, Ben will not escort me to the palace. But why not? Asked Elizabeth. He is your friend. Felicity thumped the dough hard with a rolling pin. Ben does not think I should go to the dance lesson at the palace at all, she said. He is angry at the governor, the loyalist. He thinks I should be angry too. Oh, said Elizabeth softly. Elizabeth's parents were loyalists. Her father was friendly with the governor. But my father said the governor and his lady were kind to invite me and I should go. He said Christmas is the time when our hopes for peace and happiness should come true. Well, that's the good thing, said Elizabeth. She sounded relieved. Because it would be terrible if you couldn't go. I wouldn't even like the dance lesson if you weren't there. Don't worry, said Felicity with a grin. I'll be there, I promise. She wiped her floury hands on her apron. Now then, she said, which cake color do you want to use first? The star, the moon, the heart, or the clover? Oh, the star, said Elizabeth. I want the Christmas star first. That afternoon, Felicity brought a pretty basket of Shrewsbury cakes she and Elizabeth had made to lessons at Miss Manderley's house. Such lovely cakes, said Miss Manderley. Thank you, Felicity. Elizabeth and I made them, said Felicity. We wanted to thank you for your invitation to dance lessons. I never dreamed I would be invited to the palace. It was a great honor. I'm glad you are pleased, said Mrs. Manderley. I know you young ladies will do honor to your parents and to my instruction. Do you suppose we will be presented to the governor and Lady Dunmore? Asked Elizabeth. Will we introduce them? Perhaps, said Miss Manderley. Well, said Annabelle in a snooty voice, if we are introduced, the governor and Lady Dunmore will know who Elizabeth and I are. They know our father. When they hear our last name, they will know we are from a family of loyalists. Governor and Lady Dunmore may know of my father, too, thought Felicity. When they hear my last name, they will know I'm not from a family of loyalists. Maybe they won't like me. She felt a little nervous. The governor's lady will care more about your manners than your name, said Miss Manderley. You must practice making a curtsy that you will make a good impression if you are introduced. Miss Manderley had taught the girls to make a curtsy in order to show respect when they met someone important. Now Felicity stood with Annabelle and Elizabeth to practice. Miss Manderley reminded them of the movement. Stand with your back straight, said Miss Manderley as she watched them. Put one foot lightly in front of the other. Your head should be bowed and tilted to the sides a bit. Eyes looking down, Annabelle. 'Tis rude to stare boldly. Now sink down, slowly, and say quiet, and say softly, my lord, my lady, and then rise. Good, quite good, but Felicity, don't sink so low, then you will wobble. You don't want to fall at a heap at the governor's feet. No, Miss Manderley, said Felicity. Oh, tittered Annabelle. Can you imagine what embarrassing it would be to fall? She looked at Felicity out of the corner of her eye. I hear the dance master is very strict, she prattled on. He struck 2 girls because they made mistakes in the dance, and once he scolded a young man sharply because his manner was not quite correct. That's enough, Annabelle, said Miss Manderley. You will all dance beautifully, especially if you practice between now day of the dance lesson. She sat at the spinet. Let's begin our dance practice now, then none of you need worry. But Felicity was worried. She knew she was not good at dancing, and today she was worse than usual. She even stepped on Elizabeth's toe. What if she should step on the toe of one of the governor's sons? Soon Felicity was so busy worrying she lost track of the dance entirely. Elizabeth tried to help by whispering instructions to her. Point your toe, Elizabeth whispered. She counted to the steps for Felicity in a soft voice. Step on 1, sink down on 2, step 3, 4, 5, sink down on 6. Now backwards. But Felicity was red-faced and flush. But she couldn't get back in step. It seemed like hours before Miss Manley said dance practice was over and they could all go. As they were all walking home, Felicity said to Elizabeth, I was so excited about going to the palace. I forgot the invitation was for a dance lesson. If we were going to run races or ride horses, then I would know to do well. But I'm terrible at dancing. Silly old Annabelle made you nervous today with all her talk about the strict dance master, Elizabeth said calmly. You'll do fine at the palace. No, I won't, exclaimed Felicity. She turned to her friend. Oh, Elizabeth, she said, I want to go to the dance classes at the palace more than anything in the world. But the truth is, I'm afraid. Afraid? Said Elizabeth. Why, Felicity, you're the bravest girl I know. Felicity shook her head. Not this time, she said. I'm afraid I will look like a fool. You will not look like a fool, said Elizabeth loyally. You will look beautiful. I can imagine it. You'll make a curtsy perfectly. The governor and his lady will be charmed. And you'll be dance like a dream. Your gown will be all shiny in the candlelight. Your petticoats will swirl around you. And everybody will say, who is that graceful and elegant young lady? Felicity grinned. When Elizabeth described the scene, she could almost see herself looking elegant at the palace. What are you going to wear? Asked Elizabeth. The question brought Felicity back to earth. Oh, she said, I hadn't thought about that. I wear my brown silk gown, I suppose. The one you wear to church every Sunday? Elizabeth asked. Yes, said Felicity. It's my best. Oh, yes, of course, said Elizabeth quickly. The gown always looks fine. You'll be comfortable because it's not so awfully fancy. And you are used to wearing it because it's not new. Are you going to wear a new gown? Felicity asked. Oh, no, said Elizabeth. It's not new. Well, it's new to me. It's one of Annabelle's old silk gowns. Mother is making a new stomacher for it and trimming it with new lace. It sounds most elegant, said Felicity wistfully. Elizabeth shrugged as she wanted Felicity to think she did not care about clothes. My mother and Annabelle say that Lady Dudmore is the most fashionable lady in all the colony, she said. They are making a fuss about the gowns. I don't think clothes are terribly important. This is what Elizabeth said, but Felicity could tell she didn't really mean it. Felicity knew that Elizabeth thought it was very important to wear a wonderful gown to the palace. Felicity did not usually pay much attention to new clothes, but now she began to think Elizabeth was absolutely right. If I had a beautiful new gown, I wouldn't be so nervous, said Felicity. Then I would dance well. Then I would not make any mistakes. If I had a new gown, everything would be perfect. Elizabeth asked, do you think you might have one if you asked your mother? I don't think so, Felicity said sadly. My mother is just so busy right now getting ready for Christmas. And she and my father are worried about money. There hasn't been much business at the store as of late. Oh, said Elizabeth. She was quiet. And she said, well, you might just ask. Remember what your father said about hopes coming true at Christmastide? Perhaps, said Felicity, perhaps. Felicity thought asking for a new gown just now would be selfish. But she couldn't help hoping for one. That's the end of that chapter. See you later.